Are you in, Chief?
Oh yeah, man.
Okay. So, we had a situation in the Fire Force mission where we had cleared the LC area, and we have moved into the OP spot, which was on top of this hill here. And we had roughly one team over here and roughly one over here. And we were taking fire from basically this whole area. We're having difficulties actually, well, defeating them in a straight firefight. The second team, which was on the second and one, second team, which was on the southern part, they were having a little bit easier time since they had this town to focus on, and then they had this kind of open area where enemies were as well, so they had good sidelines on there and could keep them at range. One, however, had the problem that they had two in the different directions where fire was coming from, and there was much less visibility because of the forest in front of them, and then rocks and other difficult terrain, and no clear concentration of enemy forces. There was just forces all along the area, and at some point the squad leader went down. Then another one went down with him. Nobody from the squad noticed, and then a couple of others went down as well, and they were constantly under heavy fire. And then medic was having trouble dealing with his job at that point. Couldn't get people up, and people just kept falling down and getting injured. And I went down as well while I was checking up on the situation there, and it was just chaos over there. I had managed to call in two to support at that point, and they were making their way, but their team leader died as well, so they were a bit disorganized as well at that point. Both of the team leaders are dead, most of one is gone, and part of two only is combat effective. And meanwhile, we still had an unknown number of contacts, and we were under fire from positions that we didn't see. So at that point, instead of just trying to hold the ground, told first get the injured out of there and start moving back to LSE compound, which was it was over all the way over here. So we were just making a retreat at that point, having everybody who could cover, throw smoke and put in for suppressive fire, so we could move back. That is, so we started moving in this direction, and when we got this little opening here, realized like that everything that was below down on this hill couldn't fire at us anymore. Plus, this was a good spot to land on for a helicopter, which was bringing in supplies and reinforcement. And that was the other thing, we were low on supplies as well. Ammo was running low. So the thing behind this is we have had this happen multiple times before as well, where first of all, when one is starting to have trouble like this, they should ask for support. Now, I've had this situation happen enough times that I know that I, as a platoon commander, I should go there to check myself, make sure that they are just not trying to hold it on their own while they cannot, which was the case. Of course, their team leader was dead as well, which our squad leader was dead, which didn't help the situation. And at that point, you need to call in help. So we called in two. When that didn't work out either, it was like we cannot continue holding this position. We don't have the advantage here. We don't know where the enemies are exactly, and we just keep getting losing men and losing just wasting ammo, and we are not achieving anything currently here. So at that point, it's like well, we need to try something different. Few simplest things you can do in that situation is push forward or fall back. At that point, it was much easier to fall back because more necessary to fall back since we had men unconscious. We needed to treat them, we needed to get more supplies, and we, most importantly, had the reinforcements available. So retreat, rearm, regroup, try again with a different plan. And the thing was here, like we got back over here, realized like, hey, let's get an LC over here, and get everybody treated as quick as possible. When everybody remaining from 2 was back up, they had some ammo left. I sent them back to hold this sort of line. So that way we won't get sneaked up upon while we were all huddled up here. Meanwhile, we were treating the rest of 1 while they were providing security around in this direction. We got in the reinforcements. I sent the rest of 2 along with the squad leader back to their squad. Started rearming 1. When 1 was done with rearming, I sent them back to 2 and just switch over, just rearmed everybody. And because having everybody on this line didn't work before, I sent 2 instead on flanking maneuver over to in this direction. And think I don't know if you were there, but I know Keaton and she were here when I was talking about combat maneuvers and something called squad attack, which is basically this exact situation. We have a base of fire set up, suppressing the enemy, while another team moves to get on another angle at the enemy and get close to them and clear out their position. Of course, at that point, the contact started dying down as well. So instead of waiting where 1 wasn't effective, I told them to push down the closest buildings. Then also because medic was with 1, and 2 needed some medical attention still, we reconvened around here, got the medical attention they needed. Then I just basically split the area in 2 through the road, the SR. Told 2 to clear the south and 1 the northern side. So again, how that could have gone wrong is we could have just tried to keep fighting when it was obviously not working, and then having just reinforcements trickle in and getting killed and keep losing men that way, instead of retreating, regrouping, and make another plan. So again, basic idea, if the shit is not working, do something else. Even if it doesn't work out either, at least you try to do something else other than just stay passive in a situation that is not working. Any questions about that? Or comments or anything?
No, not really. I could like describe the situation that made me go down. I was the team leader 1. Basically, yeah, my mistake is we're at that location that you marked, one's location. We were basically taking fire from the town. Everything was fine, like normal long range combat. And I would start to take some fire from like the southwest, kind of. They were like in the middle of 1 and 2. So I thought like it was only like 1 or 2 guys firing from that direction. So I thought like I better take them out before they get too close. So I think like me and Dabo started walking towards that enemy. Arrow. We walked towards them, started engaging. And then we got pinched from this side and that other enemy location. So we had like big bunch of enemies downhill that we didn't see, like directly west of us. that like flanked us when we tried to engage the other enemy in the middle, and everything went south from there.
Yeah.
But that was my bad because I thought there were only like 2 enemies over there, so I thought like let's be offensive, take them out before they get too close. But in reality, it was like maybe 2 squads down that hill, just flanked us as soon as we moved forward. And yeah, I guess we should have paid more attention to the enemies close by or doing an offensive maneuver.
Yeah. And also tell command and other squad as well that there's enemies in between and that you're moving, clear them up.
Yeah,
Have
exactly.
known that because for some time we didn't even realize where your body was.
Yeah.
The second thing was move as a group instead of splitting up like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a mistake. I thought like, oh, there's only 1 or 2 guys. I'll just bring Dab with me and take care of it. No problem. Then we pushed. We got like flanked by full of the squad, and yeah, kind of underestimated the enemy and didn't pay much attention to other enemy forces.
The second situation was once we had cleared these 2 locations, and we were taking a lot of fire from the castle and also the high ground. Uh, we had 2 moving out from the town, trying to actually take this little hill here because there was a lot of rock formations there, and it was overlooking this area, this area, this area, and had vision over here. So it seemed like a good idea at that point, especially because we had still some stragglers in the eastern area that were coming in from behind, and if you would have the high ground there, we could just cover this area easily. Uh, Unfortunately, there was the enemy had enough firepower at the top of the hill to completely suppress us while going around this. Because it was basically there was a kind of a corner like that with rocks, rock formation, and at that point, Walker went down, and then people started getting disorganized again, wondering like, oh, we can't do anything. Like, let's get out of here. Let's stay. Let's push out. Like, people were getting disorganized at that point, and one had just finished clearing the compound in the south, and again, instead of at this point, you can of course just pull back, but the thing is, uh, you have to deal with the castle one way or another, and the only ways, the only easy ways up were with the road from either way, and doing any sort of other maneuvers would take fucking forever to do with unknown chance of success, because we knew this area was clear. The rest of the area unknown, most likely under the hostile control. So we had a way to push up here that we knew of. So stick with what you know at this point. As long as we were not trying to be too aggressive over a 2's location, we were fine. We could keep them from coming down the hill, and we had the medic with us as well. Actually, no, we didn't have the medic with us at this point, but we had enough medical supplies to deal with the few injuries we had. We only had the team leader, KIA, at that point. So then it's up to one to change the situation at this point. 2 easy solutions, bring them up to where 2 is, or get them into a different angle. And at this point, since we were kind of being suppressed here occasionally, didn't want to bring them up there. Instead, bringing them up towards the western side, because this was kind of a big area that went uphill. and we had contacts top of the hill and in the castle. In the castle didn't matter that much, especially because the helicopter could keep them busy. So it was just basically everybody around this area. And when it was only two, the problem was that they had two different firing positions. Well, more than two, but roughly like from two different angles that they could shoot at us. So us trying to move up from two was basically impossible at that point because we didn't have enough firepower, we didn't have enough eyes to keep looking every direction, and they would have just had the advantage on us. They would have the high ground, they would have more firing positions, they would have more men. It's just not a good idea to try to attack in that situation. But once one made it up here to this location, now first of all they could see in this direction better than we could. You could also see up here, and then you could also support them while they move up. So now we have two squads supporting each other, having different lines of fire, and also one was safe from the castle, since there was this ridge line, the steep hill here, giving them cover. And if something would have tried to come from top of that, you would have had the opportunity to shoot them before they could threaten one. So when one, change the color for this, getting confusing. When one made it up on top, they just would just cover two instead, while they moved up as well. And from there, it was simple having two cover there, while one moved in. I can't remember which way it ended up being because I changed a couple of times because some were low on ammo, some needed medical supplies, but
One stayed outside, two
yeah.
went in.
Okay, yeah, so that's how it ended up being. And at that point, we controlled the high ground that overlooks this immediate area. But again, things that could have gone wrong with this whole situation is if I would have brought one where two is, they would have been both in a position that was suppressed, and we would have had different bases of fire, different lines of fire towards the enemies, or could have taken two back, in which case, well, one could have pushed up, but then they would have had support, and they could have gotten into the same situation just from the other side. So they could have been suppressed by the enemy from two different ways, and maybe even from the castle if they would have come down the hill. Another thing would have been to try to come from a different angle, from here perhaps, or from here perhaps. This northern side, no idea how that would have gone. We remember earlier we had few infantry there spotted by the helicopter.
Yeah, not certain.
Yeah, so it was kind of like it's an unknown, and it's just a lot of forest, and it's don't feel comfortable with that. And trying to come from the other side, well, you haven't cleared any of that yet, and there was possibilities there to be enemies in these locations, which there ended up being. So if we would have tried to come from there, they would have been stuck in between two sides. I mean, of course, this is easy to say with hindsight, but still, you can assume in this kind of mission, especially where enemies are everywhere, that if you haven't cleared an area, there will probably be enemies there. And trying to get into position where you are stuck between two enemy forces is always bad. And of course, we also had the helicopter at this point trying to engage targets in these areas. At one point, accidentally engaging friendlies as well.
I had him on like the strip going just up and down since there were a couple of enemies there. And I didn't quite know about one's flanking maneuver, so yeah.
Yeah. Any questions, comments on this?
How many people did you have, out of curiosity? So how many people did you lose for the fun before you did the final assault on the castle? Did you know?
Oh, at the castle, I think we only lost Walker, actually.
No, I mean, how many people did you have when you got up to that point?
We had respawn tickets.
Oh, right, never mind then.
Yeah.
I wasn't here, so I didn't know. I don't know the mission. But
yeah, I didn't realize that. Yeah, that's what I was talking about reinforcements before.
Oh,
Like,
right, okay.
At OP Spotlight, that's how we got
I thought
people
you were
back.
just sorting out like who goes in what squad, etc., and trying to distribute men evenly. But yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah. Could have maybe started with that actually.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Well, it does, but you've clarified it, so. Anyway, what's the time now? Oh,
1 minute.
Just about session time.
Yeah. So anybody has anything else? No? Then I'll put us back on the mission screen and look out.
Okay.
And in case somebody is watching the stream, I'll stop it now and restart it soon.